right, we're back for another brand new episode this week. This is our first time, I think, in the Pacific Northwest area for the podcast. We got 6'7". You can call him a guard, you can call him a wing. He kind of does everything for you. This is Winter's Grady out of Lake Oswego, right? Is that how it's
Oswego,
Oswego?
yeah,
Should have known that because it's Portland. It's not like
yeah,
California or something like that. But
yeah.
Lake Oswego out in Portland, Oregon. Appreciate you coming on, man. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Chilling. I had the Warriors Lakers game on at
Yeah,
halftime now, so
yeah.
great
I
time
was
to record
watching
a
that.
podcast. But
Yep.
let's get right into it. We talked a little bit, just a little bit before we started recording. You guys had a tough schedule, probably
hmm
not what you guys, the record wise, probably hoping that you guys
hmm
would end up as 10-16. But played a very talented team from Philly, played Millennium from out here in Arizona. Played two teams from Hawaii in a tournament out there.
hmm
Not the best time, but you've also played a lot of tough teams, really good teams out in that Oregon area.
hmm
In your eyes, what were some of the things that your team probably struggled with a lot that you noticed that you're hoping to turn around and be better in next year?
Um. Well, right. I mean, I'll tell you what we struggled with, but right now I'm like up in the air for where I'm going to go to high school next year. I'm going to go the prep route. It's for
Oh,
next year. Yeah. But for last year, we kind of struggled with. I mean, just all getting on the same page. We had a lot of talent. Angus Sutherland. I mean, you're not going to know any of these guys, but Angus Sutherland, he's a real talented guy. Max Archambault. Um, yeah, I mean, we were a talented group, but we just couldn't quite pull it together. A really, really new team from my freshman year, so we just couldn't get it all together.
so you kind of just broke the news, I guess, for a lot of people that you're going the prep route. Any
Yeah.
school in particular right now, or is it kind of just up in the air? But you've kind of just decided on the prep route.
Well, there's an announcement coming, so like an official announcement
We'll have
coming.
to. You have to tell me after because I don't.
Yeah, I got you. I
I don't
got
want
you.
to break
I
it
got
like
you.
this.
Yeah, I
Um,
got you.
Without saying too much details into the school and if it's in a different area besides Portland, why was the prep route the best for you starting, next year, your junior year, and most likely your senior year as well?
Well, eighth. I mean, I'm just always been the type of guy to go challenge myself and really just play at the
Mm,
top of the top because I don't really want to just be like that guy that they're always questioning. Well, is he playing the best competition? Well, is he? I mean, I just want to be at the top of the top. Like
right.
the aspirations that I have, I feel like from here on out, I really need to be playing those kids with similar aspirations to me. So that was really the deal breaker in that decision.
What is the basketball scene like in Oregon? I know in the Pacific Northwest, it's mainly Seattle. I know that
Yeah.
produces a lot of the PNW talent. I'm from
hmm
Vancouver, Canada, so I kind
Okay.
of know I
Yeah.
know what's been around. I know like Zach Levine, Spencer Hawes, I know
hmm
Jamal Crawford, all those guys. But for Oregon specifically, what's it like up there? What I know there is one of your top kids from the 23 class. He's going to Oregon. Um,
hmm
I forget his
hmm
name, but I know he's really talented.
Jackson Shellston.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
so for people that might not know much about it up in that area, what's it like? And what words would you describe Oregon basketball like?
Real physical, real tough. I mean, they're not going to make it easy when you go out on the court. I mean, I wouldn't say they just like lay it all, like they lay it all on the floor for sure. I mean, they give it their all. Um, I mean, there's some talented guys that are kind of hidden in some certain areas just because it is Oregon. I mean, we have some hoopers up here. I mean, some just don't get the recognition that they do deserve. And that was another big reason of why I'm choosing the prep route. Because I just feel like a lot of people from this area, like there was Mookie Cook and
Mm,
Lamar Washington, both those dudes, they went to Jeff and they're Oregon guys. And they made Mookie made the similar jump after his sophomore year. He went to AZ Compass and along with Lamar. I mean, Portland definitely has produced some guys, but I just feel like as of right now, there's not too many left, and so just
with your
yeah,
play style too, do you feel like that's prep route? Since a lot of the guys, especially now, even looking at this when I went to EYBL out here in Phoenix, a lot of prep schools were there. I saw Oak
yeah,
Hill, I saw Montverde,
hmm
which I don't know if that's necessarily prep, but I do
yeah,
know that's the higher ranking of high school basketball.
yeah.
Being able to play against even some guys that are on that route, did it
hmm
kind of give you a sense of feel of like, hey, I can play with these guys. These guys are going to make me better. And that was kind of one of things
Yeah.
that made that decision probably easier for you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just like I said earlier, like just playing against those kids with the same aspirations as you. Um, yeah, I mean, it's a real cool environment to be in.
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely. But for this year though, you hit that 1,000 point mark too. You averaged 27 points a game, 7 rebounds, a block a game. This summer though, playing with the Northwest Rotary Rebels, too long of a name. I'm just gonna keep it that. It should just
yeah,
be Seattle Rotary.
for sure, for sure.
But what are some areas that you are wanting to hone in on and grow in a lot that will hopefully continue to show why you are such a unique prospect up in that Pacific Northwest area?
I mean, mainly I feel like with on such a talented team with so many players, I kind of want to show that I'll just do whatever it takes to really win. I mean, it sounds real cliche, but like real, like we have anybody on the team that could go for 30 any night. Like,
Right.
so I feel like just getting 10 rebounds or 3 steals or diving on the floor for loose balls, like I feel like that would be really the game changer. And I mean, my recruitment as well as winning a bunch of games because we struggled last session, but
Mm-hmm.
we're definitely going to come this session and turn that around.
What did you focus on most? To go back to your high school season for
Uh-huh.
a second, what did you focus on most throughout the year to make those jumps? Hitting 27 points a game. It's a big deal. I read some articles about you that like you were getting some regional recognition at least. I know Sports Illustrated, you were featured in an article about them too.
Yeah.
Um, but what were some things you focused on most that made you such a prominent player in that or in your especially league in Oregon?
I mean, I started off the year real hot. I mean, I had probably 3 40-point games in our first 4 games. And so
Damn.
I feel like everybody was real focused in on me. And I started to try and use my teammates a little more to kind of engage. So I'm not the only player out there that's just chucking up a bunch of shots. And you know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I mean, just really utilizing my teammates. That just opens up everything for me. And that could go on any stage. Like, as long as you utilize your teammates, I mean, you're not the only one out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at your guys' schedule too. You played the same team twice in the playoffs in a
Mm-hmm.
non-league Cleveland, which is such a weird name for a high
Right.
school out in Portland. Um, but I'm looking at it, couple wins in a row, like you talked about, against twice against Redmond, and then Nelson took a loss against Wilsonville, beat
Mm-hmm.
Jesuit by almost 20, then a
Yeah.
couple more losses, Oregon State. It just kind of felt like very up and down. As
Yeah.
probably one of the main guys on your team, too, one of the leaders, even at a young age like yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what were some things you were telling your teammates to try and keep that spirit up to keep going and try to push and get those wins?
I mean, it was all right there. Like Jesuits a real respectable team and around here, and we beat them by like 20. Like we really put it all together that game. And so I mean, I based it off of that game a lot. That game and then a couple other games. I mean, there was a lot of games where we lived up to our potential and what
Right.
we could be. And so I just kind of used that as an examples. Me and a couple of the seniors, like we just kept using that as examples. Like this is what we can be.
Mm-hmm. You
Mm-hmm.
talked about too, last thing about your season, you went to Hawaii with that trip.
Mm-hmm.
Talked about how you kind of got spanked on that trip. I
Yeah.
have it up 89-38, your first game.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, but 75-59 loss against a team from
Mm-hmm.
Philly. Lost by 19 against Millennium. And
Mm-hmm.
then you beat the other Hawaii team, specifically about the Millennium game. That was your first time going up against Cam Holmes, who's looked at as top
Mm-hmm.
25 freshman in the country.
Yeah.
What about his game did you notice off the jump kind of that you had to probably respect and make adjustments over as a team?
Really unselfish. I mean, he can score the ball, obviously, but he's a really unselfish player, and he finds his teammates. I mean, whenever I don't know all their names, but they have some shooters, and he'd always find them. And I mean, he was not. He was probably their third leading scorer that game, but he was definitely the guy who had the most impact on that game. And so, really, just I mean, I don't know, hell of a player. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. You talk about this last session with you guys. I got your schedule up too. I know you played Team Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
but you also played Drive Nation and JL3.
Yeah.
What was it like for you being able? I know we'll talk about the weekend before where I noticed you first though, but for
Mm-hmm.
that, excuse me, played against some really tough teams. Drive Nation's not a bum team. Team
Yeah.
Griffin came at you guys hot. That game out, that was the game I was at.
Mhm.
Very back and forth. I
Yeah.
felt like there were some things like those small adjustments, just like closing out on the
Mhm.
defender. They also had that big man. I don't know his name. He followed sports and stuff on Instagram. Lengthier. I think he was number 6.
Yeah, I'm
He
not
was their
sure.
he was their big guy. He probably was about like 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
That was really the main difference with you guys. But for that weekend in total, you remain hot. You shot 53% from the field as a team that night.
Mhm.
38.5% on Saturday though.
Mhm.
Against Drive Nation, 43.5% against JL3. For
Mhm.
that experience, though, being able to play against guys from around the country, what was it like for you, and what were some things you took away?
Um, I mean, when you get on such a high stage with all these great players, you have to. I mean, I figured out like through watching film and stuff like that, you really have to simplify what you're doing. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can't just catch the ball on the wing and go get a bucket at any given time. So really just simplifying what you're doing and getting to your spots in specific. And then, like I said earlier, like we have multiple kids who can go off for 30 any night. So it's just do the little things and then get to your spots and then whatever comes with that. Um, yeah, it was fun though. It was a good learning experience, and I'm super excited for Dallas this weekend.
Since y'all are a club team, an EYBL team, it's not like you
Mm-hmm.
guys kind of grew up together and played
Mm-hmm.
together since you were fifth, sixth grade.
Yeah,
Like I know not a lot of teams nowadays are, but
yeah,
some of these teammates at least have played together for a bit.
yeah,
Being from different areas of the Oregon, Washington, California area,
yeah.
probably not a lot of time to gel. This
Mm-mm.
first session was probably one of those times to really get to
Yeah,
know how each other feels.
yeah.
Um, Chemistry wise, how have you felt? You guys got Atlanta coming up this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel collectively as a group? I'm sure you guys are honed in and ready to go in and focus, but what's it been like having to play with all these different types of play styles and playing with these guys like you just said too, that can go off for 30 at any given time?
It's fun. It's fun for sure. I mean, being with all these like elite players on the same team, it's yeah, I think it's a real unique and cool experience to be able to play with all these dudes. Our chemistry's been great. Like we all get along off the court, and we're figuring it out right now on the court. And I think it's good we got that session out of the way at an early time, just so we know how that feels and stuff like that. Because we're not a group to kind of to go separate after a bunch of losses. We're gonna try and figure it out because we all want to win like real
Mm-hmm.
bad. I think we're one of the hungriest teams on the circuit, so we're gonna figure it out for sure.
What do you think of Arizona? Was this your first time in Arizona?
No, we went to in eighth grade. We played like it was during COVID, so we went down there 4 times for made hoops. So I've had my fair share of Arizona.
Okay, I was about to say because you were in the outskirts of Arizona. I'm like, that's not what
Yeah.
Arizona is like at all.
Mm-mm.
Um, Weather-wise, what do you think? It's probably a little bit better than Portland. I've
Yeah.
lived in Portland once. It was pretty rainy and cold, but
Yeah. That's it.
compared to Portland, what was your feels of Arizona?
I'm not a big fan of the heat. I'm not a huge fan of the heat and the sun. I'm used to my Oregon weather, the rain and stuff like that.
Wearing
So
pants 365 days out of the year does not sound
exactly.
bad. So, but let's talk about how you caught my eye. Told you before, I went to go see Dallas play and John
Mm-hmm.
with Kylie Stars.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he told me he was coming to the area. I was like, I'll go check out Under Armour for a bit and pop down to
Mm-hmm.
y'all. Under Armour was a shitstorm like I've never seen. It was Under Armour was more packed than Nike. I'll tell you that.
Really,
Like it was
that's
very
crazy.
interesting. Um, but found out about that, come to see you guys play. And my first impression of you was playing against AZ Unity 16U team, playing against Cam again, but also Elijah and all their dudes who are it's
Yeah.
a solid team from I know what you've now seen playing against them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what caught my eye about you, your aggressive play style, your shot making ability, you made it really hard for guys like Brandon, like Elijah to get their shots
Yeah.
from just how hard you were playing. For
Mm-hmm.
people that are just finding out about you in these last couple of weeks, couple months, maybe, how would you describe your play style to them?
Um, I mean, obviously a bucket getter. I feel like I can just get buckets on anyone. But as of recently, I've been really trying to like go at these top dudes. So like the AZ Unity game is a perfect example. Like they have all these ranked guys and all these offers being thrown around. But I really just want to go at all of them and make their life. I mean, realist like hell. Like I don't want them to score. I don't want to I want them to turn the ball over. I want them to look terrible out there. So that's really just my mindset going into those games and playing against those ranked guys. So I mean, really just a dog. Like I mean, I don't really know how to explain it, but I'll do anything to win.
You
Anything to
definitely
win.
did. You made those guys living hell because I went and sat front row. Me and Pierre are sitting there watching you, and I'm like, hey, just get some A's Unity film, maybe some Dallas film. And then you're just like, you're doing like, you're backing down Elijah like it's
Yeah,
nothing. And
yeah,
like doing like step back fadeaways and
mm-hmm.
like going at them at the rim. Like you came, like your first step off the dribble,
Mm-hmm.
really impressive for a sophomore in high school, in my opinion. But
Appreciate it.
um, for that though, is there a certain switch that goes off for you? Like, I'm sure all you guys kind of pay attention a bit to what's going on in the recruiting ranks and the offers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great, and I love that you guys are getting offers, but like, I've seen a lot of kids get all these high class, high rankings and all this, and all these offers and all these schools, and it means nothing because they
Yeah.
don't want it that bad.
Yeah.
You seemed, at least in that game, like you wanted it more than all those guys combined. But for
Mm-hmm.
you, is there a certain sense of urgency, a certain attack mode that comes out when you're playing guys that are looked at as better than you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I like to take things personal, even if the other person's not taking the thing personal. Um, so I mean, yeah, I definitely say there's a switch that goes off. I mean, if I'm being real, that Asia Unity game, I didn't really know any of them. I just knew they had a high profile and like a high
Right.
profile team and stuff like that. Um, but in specific, but like last year, my freshman year, I mean, I feel like I'm really underlooked from where I'm at right now, and so I feel like I have something to prove every time I step on the court.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's get into that right now. Before we get into the recruiting, though, from the trainers you've worked with, some coaches that you've had, I know probably your parents and family and friends said, "Oh, you play like this," but in your
Mm-hmm.
eyes, who are some people you look up to, try to take pieces of their game of, add it to yours, and just some people you watch on film?
I try and watch a lot of. I watch Grady Dick a good amount.
Mm.
Um, that's the main comparison I kind of get. Um, some Austin Reeves. I get some Austin Reeves comparisons. I mean, uh, Luca at times. That's about it. I don't really get any certain comparisons a lot, but
The Grady one
the
is
Grady,
interesting
yeah, Grady Dick one I get a lot.
because every single kid I've had on here has said like an NBA player. You're the first guy to, I'm pretty sure, say a college person.
Yeah.
Him, he made a huge jump from his junior to senior year too. I forget
Mm-hmm.
what prep school he played at, but he was in like the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, he played in Kansas at Sunrise.
Um, for you though, what about his game do you like the most that he does? Because he is a attacking wing about the same
Yeah,
height as you, 6'7", 6'8", can
yeah.
shoot it, go off the
Mm-hmm.
dribble. What about him do you like the most that you appreciate about his game the most?
I really like how he hunts his shots. I mean, he'll cut through the lane. I mean, kind of like a Curry type. Like he just runs around the
Mm.
court until he gets a wide open shot coming off of a bunch of down screens. Um, kind of like Tyler Hero, like sets back screens, cuts, gets the ball. And that's kind of something that I feel like I need to do better at instead of just always going off the dribble.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I,
absolutely.
yeah.
Let's talk about your recruitment though. Like you said, you feel like you're pretty underrated compared or underlooked.
Mm-hmm.
And I would 100% agree. The
Mm-hmm.
way you played in those 3 games is how you play against Cali Stars at Unity and the
Mm-hmm.
Team Griffin game. There's something about you that like I was even talking to Pierre about it, which go follow BTN Scouting. We're doing a lot of dope shit.
Okay.
But for you though, I've even talked to Pierre about it and a couple of guys outside of it. It's like there's something about you that like, yeah, he's going Division 1. Like you can just tell with the intensity you play and
Mm-hmm.
the way you just like do not give up at all. you talked a little bit in that Unity game too. I forget who it was to, but
Yeah.
why do you feel you're underlooked? Is there something that necessarily happened? I know we talked a little bit earlier. You fractured your foot
Mhm.
during the sessions last summer, took you out for a bit, and that was probably a rough time for you because
Mhm.
I read an article today and it was like UCLA, Oregon, Houston, and it was like quotes by you of stuff you were talking to.
Yeah.
Probably schools that were looking at you a little bit. And I know that hurts getting the fractured foot and all that happening. But for you, why do you feel like you're underlooked and what do you want to do to change that narrative?
Um, I mean, mainly just, I mean, an obvious one is just, like you said, fracturing my foot last summer. I mean, it's my freshman summer, so it's the first time that people like actually put eyes on you, unless you're like
Right.
an NBA player's kid in eighth grade or something like that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, really, I missed my summer, and I feel like that's a big one. And I don't really have any other reasons. I mean, in the Pacific Northwest, I feel like I'm pretty well respected, but I'm trying to get like nationwide and stuff like that.
All right, let's get into this though. After showing out though against real tough competition, tough teams, you picked up an offer
Mhm.
from San Francisco University 2 weeks ago now about that.
Uh, yeah.
Before we get into the rest of your recruiting, what was
Mhm.
that feeling like being able to get that offer? What was the story behind it, the conversation you had with the coaching staff? Just tell me kind of what happened getting that offer from SFU.
Well, it's funny because that offer was actually posted pretty late.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, I got that like I think 2 months ago.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, but I confirmed it with the coach on the phone. We had a pretty good conversation about just me going down to campus um, eventually. So yeah.
uh, Pacific Northwest schools, have any reached out to you? We'll talk about some more national schools now that you're playing on the stage, but schools, Oregon State, Oregon, UW,
Yeah.
Wazoo, some
Yeah.
low. I know there's some lower ones in the area too, maybe in the NorCal area too. What's
Mhm.
it been like, kind of school wise, recruitment wise, regarding the schools up in your area?
Um, Oregon's kind of the main one. They're recruiting me pretty hard. I have a pretty good relationship with one of their assistant coaches, Coach Miniga. And then I talk to Coach Altman on a pretty regular basis. I've gone down there for a couple unofficials, and that's kind of the main school that I've been looking at in the Pacific Northwest.
Mm.
Then UCLA, I've been talking to them a little bit. Those are the main schools that have been recruiting me. Then Houston's been recruiting me for a pretty long time. So those are the top three schools that I have so far.
Has there been any other schools outside of, these past couple of weeks that they
Mm-hmm.
were impressed by you, reached out to? I'm assuming your dad is kind of maybe the one that probably gets the
Yeah,
calls first and then it goes to you.
yeah,
But has there been any schools after the big weekend against Unity and that kind of warm up to EYBL in this first session? I'm sure it's going to change after the second week, but what's it been like kind of recruitment wise since like the end of school season to now?
yeah. I've heard from a couple of schools, especially after that Arizona weekend. I talked to Texas a little bit,
Mm.
USC. I think Kansas reached out to my dad, and then a couple other schools that I'm just throwing a blank on. But Washington State.
Mm.
So those are the main schools. Those are the top schools that reached out to my dad after
What's
that
that?
week.
What's going through your mind when you hear that? Like when your dad comes in, it's like, hey, I just got off the phone with so and so from Texas, Kansas. Is it kind of a surreal feeling for you, or is it kind of just like you appreciate it, of course, and you're grateful and you feeling humble for it, and it's just like another day you got to keep going.
Yeah, like you said, I feel like I mean he tells me that, and I kind of use it as motivation because I'm not there yet. I
Right.
mean, anybody can have a verbal either offer but until you sign that national letter of intent, I mean, nothing's official. And so I feel like I just need to keep going until I do sign that paper. And I do have obviously pro aspirations, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm just trying to like get past all that.
Mm. Before I let you go, what can scouts, reporters like me, recruiters from schools look forward to seeing when we see you play this weekend? You got Team CP3, you got Moken Elite. Team United. What type of Winters Grady will we be getting in Atlanta this weekend?
A hungry, aggressive one. I'll leave it at that, and then we'll see how I play this weekend. But you're going to be seeing an aggressive me.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, Ben. Before I let you go, NBA playoffs are kind of heating up. My team got their ass kicked last night, like I told you before we started recording. From the teams that are left, the Warriors are up 15 with 7:43 to go in the third. Who are you looking at and saying, like, this team is probably looking the best to win it all right now?
Man, the Sixers and the Celtics series, I feel like whoever fights that one out, they're gonna pull it away.
No hope in the Knicks or the Heat?
Oh, I mean the Heat are looking scary. Jimmy Butler's kind of going crazy, but I think someone from the East is for sure gonna win it.
Yeah, well, Tibbs played Brunson and Grimes 48 minutes tonight, so yeah. I don't know if the Knicks are gonna last any longer.
Yeah.
But at the end of every episode, we always ask favorite on-court shoe. Of course, on your Instagram, you got that cold ass Jason tattoo, which I gotta ask. Whose idea was that? Was that yours? Is that just like the killer in you? Or
I've been looking at it since like 8th grade, and then finally my mom finally let me get it. So
dude, it was cold. I'm like, who's this white kid with a Jason tattoo? Favorite on-court shoe though, it's on your Instagram, rocking a couple of Kobe's. I'm sure different were in rotation. What was the go-to shoe during school season, and what's it been like throughout these EYBL and club team tournaments?
I try and keep it to Kobe's and Kyrie's, and I'll occasionally wear some other ones, but Kobe's and Kyrie's are my favorite.
Any colorway specifically?
No colorways. I like the Kobe 5s though. Kobe 5s, then the Kyrie 5s, I think.
Okay, yeah, those are good shoes. I don't know how you afford them, but those are some good ass shoes. Well, Winters, I appreciate you chopping it up with us for a little bit and getting to know you a bit better. Anything to shout out before we get out of here?
No, I just appreciate you having me on.
Well, cannot wait to watch the rest of your journey. Excited to tap in and watch you play this weekend against your squad. Sure, but yeah, man, wish nothing but the best of luck. Talk to you soon. And yeah, go kill it in Atlanta this weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.